Hello out there in YouTube land. Well, you see from the title what this is kind of about, not completely. This is what it is. It's time, this time every year, I take a lot of my leather goods and I go ahead and reapply mink oil to them, and my jackets, I got a hat that I use rain cover when it's raining, so that way I don't get my glasses wet. And my work boots here, as you can see, let me get them where I can hold both of them. You can see this one here has had it applied to it. This one here has not. And I've already cleaned this one. I actually cleaned both of them, but this one I've applied it to and got it going. So I'm going to kind of take you through the process of what I do and how I do it. So hang on a second, we'll get started on it.
This is Surviving 2 coming to you with another video.
Well, thanks for sticking around. Right now we're going to be in hands mode. You're only going to see the hands. Yeah, because that's about the best way I can figure out to do this, and y'all can kind of see what's going on. So this one's already been done. It's out of here. It's gone. We're working on this one. This is what I've used, and you'll see a detailed shot of it here. It'll fill the screen. You'll know what it is. Now, once it's open, this is kind of what it looks like right here. It's just kind of a pasty looking substance. Now, this is a rag I've got that I picked up a long time ago. I think it's a jean material, something like that, a cotton material that I've had through maybe 5 or 6 of these canisters. Every time I run out of a canister, I take this rag and I transfer it from canister to canister. So this rag is absolutely saturated with this stuff, and I store it inside of the tin. So I just keep it in the tin. Next time I need to use it, bam, I've got it. And I take it and I'll open it up and I'll have it about, halfway like that and use it like that. Now, when I do this, I keep one hand on the rag, always. I'll never use any other hand because this stuff can get messy quick. The old timers, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all been there, done that. Got a t-shirt for it. Young guns, y'all have probably done this before. This video is probably geared more towards the people that might not have ever done this before, might not have ever seen it before. And this will maybe give you some tips. I don't know. Maybe some of the old guys will get some tips from it too. I don't know. Maybe some of the ones that have done it for a while, but maybe you'll catch something new here. What I do is I'll start off by taking and dabbing a little on the rag, get a small amount on there, and I start with the seams where it overlaps like this and down in here, and I'll just take and start dabbing into the seam and just kind of fill the seam. So what I'm going to do is go through and fill all that seam. If you can see what I'm doing right there, I'm just backfilling into that seam and making sure I get everything into there and getting it all good and covered, because later on I'll be pulling all that out. Just make sure I'm on camera. I'll be pulling all that out after a while, but I'm wanting it to kind of seep and seal into there. And what I'll do is I'll go all the way around until I get back around to where I started here, and I'll do that seam, and then I'll work on these two main seams up along here and another seam here. And if you do any jackets or anything like that, you're doing basically the same thing. You find a seam, you work on the seams first, and then you work on the flatter portions and the other flat portions at the same time. I've been doing this for years. I've never had any kind of a seam fail on me. I've never had the stitching fail on me. The only place I've had an issue is like as this gets old down here, I've had the sole crack open there, and I've had, I think this is a welt, I forget, whatever it's called in here, I've had this fail. But none of this has ever leaked water. And I've even taken, once these are done and something has come apart and I can't get them fixed anymore, I'll take and strip all the leather off of them. The leather, that's easy for me to say. I'll pull the leather off, the heroin again. Can't speak. Anyway, I'll get all the leather off of them and save the leather for other odd and end projects, maybe some little patch I need on something else, something like that, because this leather will stay good for years and years and years if you keep this maintenance up on them. They will stay really well. And I forget how long I've had these particular boots, and the other boots before them, I had them for a long time too. So like I say, I'll go ahead and go around all the seams and stuff like that, and I'm not going to bore you with that, and then I'll come back to you. All right, I've gone through and got all the seams done up. I've gone around, got that, got the main seam here, and got it all packed full of it and everything. And in places, if I get where you can see this, in places I've put my thumb in there and pushed up on the seam so it kind of opens the seam up, and then gone at an angle across that seam so that it's kind of like a painter putting mud in a seam. He'll go across it sometimes to make sure it gets down in there and then flattens it out. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing here too. I'm doing that with it. So now that I've got everything all done up, I'll take and get a little bit on the cloth, just kind of get it onto there. I don't know if what I'm doing is on camera or not, trying to make it there. This rag is so saturated. Now what I do is I just start rubbing the flat section, and it is so saturated, it just puts a lot of it on there. But now what I'm looking for is dull spots. I will see where the name of this is mink oil, and that's why this cardboard is on this table. This is friggin' oil. This oil will get into everything. That's why I say keep one hand on the rag and the other one dry. So I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try and get it close, but there's a line right through here that you can see a color change where this is dark, and that's real light. And if I can get a shine change, there's a shine change in there too. That means that leather is not picking up the oil. So that's a trouble spot. What I have to do is get more of the mink oil and specifically put it heavy in that one location and make it soak in, because the leather in that spot is really, really dry. So you have to really get it soaked into there good. Otherwise, you're not doing any good to the leather at all. You're not helping it. There's another spot just like it here on this side. See if I can get it up close enough to where you can see it. See how light it is? See if I can get it with just what's on the rag. And same thing, I'm put my hand inside, I'm putting my fingers on that spot, and I'm pushing up on it so that I kind of open it up more, going back and forth across it against the grain, I guess you could call it, or against the crack, so that way it opens it up more. And now if you look, you can see how it's a uniform color, and that light spot has now disappeared. So what I got to do is go all the way around this thing. I'm going to do just the lower section right now, and then I'll come back and let you see that, and then I'll work on the upper section and then let y'all follow along a little bit on that one, so that way I don't bore you to tears, and then we'll go from there. So hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, I made it all the way around the lower section, and by the time I got back around to where I started from, there was a spot that started getting light again. So that meant that the leather was actually soaking the mink oil into it that fast. So I went ahead and put some more back on there. You might find that happens. So that's not a problem. Go ahead and put more in there. That means that the leather is really dry in that spot, and it's wanting more mink oil. Ah, my glasses. And now we're going to start on this upper section. Now what you can do is, I take my finger and see that glob of mink oil right there? I take and spread it on up high. That's from that first bit that I did on that seam joint right there. I'm taking it back out of there, and I'm using it to spread on up high on the top part. I'm hoping that was in camera shot, but so I'm getting it out of there and leveling it out, and now I'm going through and just spreading it around, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking for light colored places where especially where the creases are. You can see creases in the leather and everything. Get it out here where you can see it. And then I'll put more mink oil in there and take care of all that. So let me get all that done, and I won't bore you to tears with that. And I'll get back with you and kind of show you some of the final processes. Well, there it is. I went through and checked everything, tried to expose any cracks, any folds or anything like that, make sure I got the mink oil in everything. Looked it over again to make sure it wasn't absorbing the mink oil in areas and it didn't need any more, so it's looking good to go. And right now you can see there's a kind of a shine difference still in the two of them. I don't know if you can catch it on camera or not, but the directions on here says to immediately wipe it down and let it dry. No, I don't do that. I'm sorry, Kiwi and Johnson or Johnson, whoever. I don't do that. I let it set for a couple hours and let that mink oil just sit there and soak into it and get into it and do a lot more. And then I'll rub it down, and what I'll do is I'll take an old work sock, something like that, something that's been used up, and I flip them inside out, and you can see how inside out they've got that kind of knitting, you know, and I don't know how to describe that, but anyway, it's got the furry part inside, to go against your foot, and that is what I use to rub everything down with. That's what I'll wait about 2 hours, something like that, give it some time, and then I'll rub it down, let it dry out a little bit, and then go from there and all that. Oh, one other thing, I don't do the straps. I don't hit them with mink oil, because those little puppies will get so soft, it'd be hard to pull them on. Sometimes they'll break. You have to be real careful with them. Don't hit the straps. Leave the straps alone. Let them be natural. They'll be nice and stiff and hold real good. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that get on here and say, oh, I don't do that like that. I do it this way. Well, fine and dandy. I'm happy for you. That's great. I tell you what, my parents grew up during the Depression. They taught me this. They taught me how to do this when I was a kid. I've always done it this way. I'll keep doing it this way. So I'm happy for you. If it works for you, fine and dandy. More power to you. This works for me, so I keep doing it my way. I've had water up, that high, still had dry socks. So yeah, I keep doing it my way. So y'all do what you want out there. Hey, you're old enough to know what you want to do, so have at it. I just thought I would share my little bit here. Now I can't get the tin shut. Probably because I'm trying to use a oily hand. There it went, and it's slick. I need to go get something and wash this hand. God, this thing feels nasty. So anyway, y'all can't see me salute, so that's good enough. Y'all take care out there. Salute the hand. There we go. Later.
I want to thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more in the future that I put out, just subscribe. Until then, later.